these nationalists, right, would dive into the occult. But when you fast forward into what was happening into the United States, they were developing the rocket program back in the 30s and the 40s, right?
Yeah.
And this is all connected to Jack Parsons, and Jack Parsons was, you can call him the father of rocketry, and JPL, jet propulsion.
And he was
that's all. And he was a huge occultist, bro. But check this
not
out.
only a huge occultist, he was a student of
Aleister Crowley.
Las distracciones y narrativas reinan este mundo tecnológico. Todos tienen una opinión de lo que es la verdad y lo que es mentira. ¿Quién controla el mundo? Los aliens son real. ¿Vivimos en un Matrix? Estas preguntas serán debatidas con José y Daniel G, explorando y descubriendo las verdades de nuestro mundo, nuestras creencias y nuestro reality. Welcome to Cultura Truth Project.
Dímelo, mi gente. Welcome back. It's another one. Otro episodio. It's Cultura Truth Project. Jose G y Danny G de vuelta. What's up, bro?
Well, it's another week full of news, full of beautiful things to talk about. But with all that said, guys, I want to give a shout out to every nation listening across the world, man. The audio portion of the podcast is exploding. Man, we got people in Uruguay, in Chile, in Argentina, Brazil. We got some in Netherlands, in Germany, Brussels. God darn, thank you for every one of you, and thank you for listening and subscribing. And to the most important people, you know who you are. Thank you for supporting us, and thank you for subscribing. There's some special people. We're not going to put them on blast, but they know who they are. Thank you for listening so much.
Muchas gracias.
Warms my heart. Warms my heart.
Love the support.
What's on the docket today, Jose?
Bro,
let's go.
Tenemos muchas cosas para hablar hoy. We got a lot of stuff to cover today. We're going to be covering the stuff with the solar eclipse. We're going to be covering all the conspiracies, all the conspiracies surrounding this eclipse, and everybody just going crazy, bro. So I don't know, man. We're gonna jump into it, try to decipher some of the stuff, see what's true, what's not, bro. Pero en nada, mi gente, ya tú sabes. Make sure you follow us. Síganos en todas las redes sociales, en YouTube, en Rumble, on Cultura Truth Project. Make sure you follow us on Facebook and on Instagram at Gonzalez Media TV. And also subscribe to the podcast on all major platforms, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and leave us a 5-star review. And we just started this last week, guys. So if you really want to show the support, guys, support the show by joining the Supporters Club on Spreaker for $3 a month. The link is in the description. We just dropped our first members only, supporters only audio. That's going to be dropping this Friday. So, guys, just make sure you subscribe, you show the support to the show, and you guys get the exclusive little tidbits of a conversation that el hermano mío y yo nos ponemos a hablar un poquito de miel. We start talking a little bit of bullshit before the show, right? Just to kind of get hyped.
You get to hear all our playlist preferences. You get to hear all the weird stuff that we come up with before the show. You actually get to see me and Jose's relationship in more of a relaxed light. You know what I'm saying? It's not so be professional and be a podcaster. But no, this is you're going to get to see a little bit more of us. And hopefully as the show grows, you'll see the guests in the pre-show too, which will be freaking amazing. But, thank you guys again so much. Supporters Club, $3. Now, remind you, $3 is less than Starbucks.
It's cheaper than a bag of Skittles. Like my boy, shout out to Donut.
Dude, it's cheap. Literally, at these days, it is
By the
cheaper than
way,
a bag of Skittles.
By the way, I want to give a quick shout out to Sam Tripoli. I want to give a shout out to Paranoid American, Donut Factory, and the Juan podcast. This past weekend, we had a meetup out in Summerfield, Florida, for Sam Tripoli's show at the Joke Joint. Great crowd. Got to meet a bunch of comedians over there, a lot of the other influencers and personalities in the truth space. So shout out to all you guys. There's going to be a lot more new guests that you guys are going to be listening on the show, on the podcast, or watching on YouTube. So, de nuevo, mi gente, muchas gracias por el apoyo. Muchas gracias por los colaboradores. All the people that's been on the show so far. Bro, we're 12 episodes in, bro, and we're starting to get the attention of some pretty big personalities. I'm not going to spoil it right now because we want to save it for later on, guys. Pero nada, just big shout out to all you guys, and thank you for the love and support.
Y la cosa, te voy a decir la verdad, que estoy tan agradecido, pero esa no es la razón que hacemos esto. Hacemos esto porque nos gusta, es la verdad, y son temas que nos tocan el corazón y nos gusta de hablar. So, para toda la gente que están escuchando, muchas gracias. Everybody, thank you. And being grateful always brings more things. So we're just grateful. Let's bring it on. What's on the docket today, sir?
Bro, so, okay. So next week, next Monday, April 8th, has been the day, right? It's been the day that everybody's been talking about. And it's the day of the solar eclipse. But this isn't just a regular eclipse, bro. This is a total solar eclipse. It's not an annular one. And these are actually pretty rare. So this type of total solar eclipse happens every 300 and something years, right? But the path of totality where it's passing right now in the United States happens every like 20 to 35 years. But the reason that it's catching everybody's attention is because of how rare of an eclipse it is. But you know, people, bro, tú sabes cómo es la gente. La gente le encanta, take an event y llevarlo más allá, right? And take it just a little bit out there. TikTok's going crazy with, putting things into Bible prophecy. And we're going to jump into that later. We'll read some of the Bible prophecy and kind of decipher that and see what's happening with real time. Some people are in, in the Messianic and the Judeo-Christian and the Jewish faith. They're doing, getting ready to do stuff with a red heifer. NASA's getting ready to pop off some rockets. And it's all coinciding on April 8th, bro.
So before we dive really deep, how many world crises have we survived as a generation? Like as of like a millennial generation, right? From 81 or 82 through like 95, that group of people. Y2K, 9/11, 2012, countless wars, countless fake messiahs and prophets. I've lost count. Okay. I've lost count. And this is just off the top of my head. And I'm sure there's other ones on the internet that they'll say that we survived or whatever. Pandemics, epidemics, Black Swan events. We've survived it all. So I don't know if a stellar event will have such
a celestial event,
a celestial, stellar, whatever, right? Out in the beyond. I don't know how big of that will hold to us, but it is an interesting to see how the world is taking this and how they're reacting to this. Bro. So let's get into this because there's a lot to cover today.
So check this out, man. So I was last year in Texas during the last solar eclipse that went through Texas, and this was, I think, last October. And it was eerie, it was crazy, but it didn't get any media attention. Like, it was like, oh yeah, the solar eclipse passed through Texas. Okay, this happened, and yeah, everybody got through their day, right? Another huge event was back in 2017, the 2017 eclipse, right?
Trump administration, yeah.
During the Trump administration, right? And everybody remembers him. He's just looking up at the sky like a dumbass. And, when he was told not to look up, whatever, right? Pero that happened, right? That got some media attention, but it was more of a spectacle and not a doomsday event like this year's eclipse is being portrayed, right?
Mhm.
So check this out, man. I want to share this with you because this is you're gonna laugh at a lot of the stuff that I'm about to show you, bro, because it's crazy. So Texas has this thing going on right now. And basically what they're doing here, hold on, let me see if I can get this a little. Texas County issues disaster declaration for solar eclipse, expects 200,000 people at the event. And North Texas County issued a disaster declaration ahead of April 8th solar eclipse, warning of traffic and potential gridlock as the celestial event ends. Kaufman County Judge Jakey Allen issued a declaration Wednesday due to projected and expected number of visitors, according to a news release from the county's Office of Emergency Management. County officials are expecting 200,000 people in attendance, nearly double its population, to view the total eclipse, as Kaufman and Terrell are in the path of totality. Saying, quote, the dramatic increase in population, even for a short time, will greatly impact our public safety agencies, taxing their ability to respond to calls, officials wrote in a release announcing for the declaration. So they've been preparing for this for months, right? But check this out. The declaration will last 4 days, starting on the 5th through the
Friday.
9th, starting this Friday, right? And
Which, by the way, Kaufman County is about 35 minutes from where I'm sitting at right now.
Dude. So what do they know? I mean, okay. So
I don't think they know anything. I think, and this is knowing Texas, living here for the last 10 years, I think it's just Texans being Texans. Bro. It's them. Bro, it's like this. When the snowpocalypse came back in 2021, they realized they weren't ready, right? When hurricane that hit Houston a couple years ago hit, they realized they weren't ready for that type of event. I think this is an overcorrection by the local government, personally. I'm sure, the extra revenue to the state is welcomed, so they're prepping themselves for, whoever many people decide to come to Texas to watch these, right? Because you can see all the way through Kaufman, Austin, you can basically see, as long as you're somewhere in the I-35 corridor, you will be able to see the total solar eclipse from Austin to San Antonio, all the way up to North Texas. I think it's an overcorrection. I don't know how much of an overcorrection. Maybe it's good to be a little overprepared in a situation like this.
Here's the thing, though. It's not just in Texas, bro. 5 hours ago, the state of Indiana also did a state of emergency declaration. Several states that are in that path of totality are starting to declare within the last 4 or 5 hours. And this is Wednesday, April 3rd. The podcast will be out on April 5th when all the emergency stuff starts happening. Okay. So I understand. I understand that might be like an overcorrection, right? Pero it might be also coincidental, right? But why this particular eclipse? Why wasn't it so prevalent on the other ones?
I don't know, but I'll tell you this much. Dallas County, schools are closing. Kaufman County, schools are closing. Austin, city limits, schools are closing. I remember when I was a kid, and even when we had a partial solar eclipse, that was a teachable moment for, like, if you were in a science class.
And that's fine. And that's
and you would go outside with the glass, and you would go outside with the glasses, and you would look, and you would build like a little peephole thing where you would stick your head inside so you could look at it.
They're not doing that this time.
They're not doing any of that. They're discouraging. I wonder what I don't want to say control, but what is the sleight of hand that they're doing here? It's like, I wonder what the powers that be are saying. Don't look up. What are we going to figure out that we're living in a flat earth or something? I don't know.
Right?
I don't know. But like this stuff, there's been full solar eclipses happening around the world, not necessarily in the US, but the path of a solar eclipse. has been happening around the world, and you don't hear none of this stuff ever before. Now, all of a sudden, because of the advent of the internet and all this other stuff, this time around, it's like, yo, this is kind of major. It's in the Bible, like, and it's Texas, it's God's country. Yo, stay inside. The world's about to fall apart. I don't know if all that's true, but I do know that as far as local authorities prepping for, like, if it's a freaking music festival, it's not surprising. I think it's a little bit of an overcorrection, but like, I don't know, man. It's just, I think X marks the spot. I think we're falling pretty soon. Just saying.
So
I'm not predicting anything. I'm just saying.
Well, the X is going to be somewhere either in Kentucky, or it looks like maybe Illinois. I don't know exactly what that longitude and longitude is going to be. But, this is the projected path for 2024, and this was the path for 2017. So, the X marks the spot right over the United States. It could be symbolically concerning. Sure, whatever. I don't think it's really something to get, freaked out about and concerned about. However, my spidey senses are starting to get raised up once I start connecting the dots with what all the other shit that's going down on April 8th. Like the red heifer sacrifices in Jerusalem, bro. Like, that's another thing that's been popping off all over the place. And they're doing it during right around, coincidentally, around the solar eclipse time. Right. So I didn't even know about the red heifer thing. Right. I didn't even know anything about the red heifer thing, but it's an actual thing. So
so there are reports, and this is something that I brought up to you in preparation for today's podcast, was that there's a segment of the Jewish religious population. I don't want to say every Israelite or Jewish person of cultural descent believes this. There's a segment of the Jewish population that is trying to kick off the return of the Messiah or the revealing of the Messiah. And on top of that is to rebuild the Temple Mount. And one of the things that need to happen is the sacrifice of the red heifer. And there hasn't been a red heifer in Israel in over a millennia since Jesus basically died. So this is pretty big. Like, if you're a Bible scholar or if you know anything about end time prophecy, this is one of the big ones. This is one of the ones where you're like, your eyebrows raise up and you start praying a little bit, because even if this is being done by humans to force the hand of, and I don't want to use air quotes when saying God, but like to force the hand of God, because I don't think any human can force the hand of God. If they're trying to force the hand of God by bringing this on in some sort of ritual, I think it's gonna backfire. Personally, at worst, at best, nothing happens. But at worst, God, man, there's an entire book of the Bible dedicated to this. I don't know. It's a lot. It's crazy. There's a great channel that I sent you, the Ruslan KD. He covers this. He did a couple of videos on this, talking to a couple of Messianic Jews about this. Man, and I think, and to quote him, I think, and to quote the Bible, I think, when thinking about end time prophecies, I think is you still have to live like the body of Christ and do the most for the least of us and live life like it's not coming, because we don't know the day nor the time. Exactly. All we know is the signs.
And that's one thing that, the internet and everybody is like, April 8th. There's even like some faiths and some churches out there proclaiming that that's the day that, that Christ says that Yeshua's coming back. And it's like, dude, it even says it on the Bible, then not even the son knows when he's supposed to come back. Right. And excuse me. And when he does, he's going to come back like a thief in the night. So nobody's going to know, bro.
That's not correct, sir. According to the Bible, he's going to come back like a conquering king.
Well, I know. With a sword coming out of his mouth and fire in his eyes. Yes, I understand that. But when the Father comes, he's going to come as a thief in the night. You know that.
Yeah, no one knows the day or the time. And as a practicing Christian and somebody who believes in the word, I see these things, I take them in as information, but I don't let these theologians, these so-called and the word is the Pharisees of the time, right? Because they are Pharisees of this time, dictate how I'm going to live my day to day and exhibit my faith during these troubling times. Because yes, the war all over the place is another sign. If you're a Christian, famine. I think if not the whole world, most of the world at this point knows who the name of Jesus is, and there are still uncontacted tribes in some parts of the world, but that's slowly becoming less and less. Very fast, very fast. There are tribes in the Philippines that don't have internet access and they somehow get on Facebook. So I don't know, but this whole prophecy being fulfilled, and one of the end time prophecies being fulfilled with the red heifer being sacrificed, is big. It's a big, 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 big thing. And you don't have to be you don't have to be a casual or a hardcore Christian to just open your eyes and be like, well, we're playing with fire here.
And these are all, and you know me, bro. I'm not a religious person. I'm not. I'm not a religious person, but I do have a relationship with my father, and I'm being more diligent about reading scripture and just having that relationship, right? And I'm just looking out for signs, bro. That's really what I'm doing, and that's what, what some of the stuff that I've been reading essentially is look out for signs, right? And and the signs are going to be in the sky, Now, does that mean that all this apocalyptic and biblical shit can happen? I don't know. Because I'm not a prophet, right? I really don't know. It could happen. But if it does happen, then you know what? I'm good.
Well, here's another end time prophecy that I think you should look at. Look up the rusting of the moon.
Oh, dude, I was watching that earlier today too. Because
the rusting of the moon, and how the word hematite goes back to the original Greek word of blood.
Yes.
And one of the end time prophecies is that the moon shall be covered in blood. But now that they're discovering rust on the moon, giving it that red hue that you see sometimes, you starting to put some things together, and you're like, it's a lot of things. There's a lot of things, and I think we live in a very interesting time, astronomically. When you look up into the heavens and you listen to some of the scientists that know way more than we do, I think that we look into those things and we see it's like, okay, there's something way bigger than us out there that we can't necessarily completely comprehend or explain, but these things are happening. And there's nothing that an individual or even a nation can do about it. Mm-hmm. I mean, what is Joe Biden gonna do other than stand outside the lake on his ice cream and tell the you know what I'm saying? Like, he ain't gonna do nothing, bro.
That was a terrible Joe Biden impression, bro.
Yeah, well, my son served in the military, so
keep working on that.
I'm not an impression.
Good impression, but good try, bro. Good try. Good attempt.
Yeah, appreciate it.
But by the way, since you're talking about scientists and people that supposedly know more than us, which they probably do, NASA, they say trust NASA. I don't fucking trust them.
I don't trust NASA. As far as I know, they're still a organization.
Well, NASA's going to be launching some rockets out into towards the moon when during the eclipse, bro. NASA to launch rockets into moon shadow during the solar eclipse. This shit is wild, dude, because I want to read the article, because this is where shit gets crazy and wild for me, bro, when I was doing research and just jumping into this, right? So if you follow the history of NASA has occult roots, bro. Like, if you has some
NASA has the roots.
Well, we can't really say that word. I'm gonna have to bleep that out. But
they have German roots. Hold on, let's restate that.
Yes, they have German roots. Yes, they have National Socialistic roots. Yes, we understand that. Yes, that's
Is
fine.
really the word is really the N word, and now I'm not talking about the black N word. I'm talking about the European N word.
It gets flagged on YouTube.
It gets flagged? Really? That's a weird one.
I know.
That's a weird one,
especially in this space. But these nationalists, right, would dive into the occult. But when you fast forward into what was happening into the United States, they were developing the rocket program back in the 30s and the 40s, right?
Yeah.
And this is all connected to Jack Parsons, and Jack Parsons was, you can call him the father of rocketry, and JPL, jet propulsion.
And he was
that's all part of it. And he was a huge occultist, bro. But check this
not
out.
only a huge occultist, he was a student of
Aleister Crowley.
Yeah.
Yes, he was a student of Aleister Crowley. But this is where I wanted to kind of make the connecting the dots here, because the atmospheric perturbations around Eclipse path, otherwise known as APEP, APEP, sounding rockets will launch from NASA's Wallops Flight Facility in Virginia to study disturbances in the ionosphere created when the moon eclipses the sun.
Totally makes sense.
The sounding rockets had previously been launched, successfully recovered from the White Sands Test Facility in New Mexico during October's 2023 annular solar eclipse. They have been refurbished and new re-instrumentation and will be relaunched on April 2024. The mission is led by blah, 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 blah. I don't care about that. But the main thing was that they are launching April 8th, the day of the eclipse. And this APEP rocket is 3 rockets. So they're launching one at, here we go. Let me see. They have the times on here. I forget. I think they're like 45 minutes apart or something like that, just to kind of see how the shade or the path affects the Earth from, when it's starting to eclipse to the total eclipse and then the post eclipse, right? So I think that's what they're trying to do. But check this out, dude. APEP. When we go to APEP over here on Wikipedia and we start looking at some origin and some etymology, APEP, also known as Apepi or Aepep, ancient Egyptian, all right, who was an ancient Egyptian deity who embodied darkness and disorder and was the opponent of light of Ma'at, other known as order or truth. Ra was the bringer of light and hence the biggest opposer of Apep. And if we go over here in the corner, Apep is being portrayed as a snake. Right? So they named this program, they named this rocket launch, I can't even speak today. APEP. NASA has deep occultic connections with this guy, Jack Parsons. Okay. This motherfucker that was a disciple of Aleister Crowley, a Thelemite.
Great head of hair.
Oh, he was a great looking guy. They call him an occultist playboy. That's what they called him out in LA. But yeah, this guy was the guy who founded JPL, that's the Jet Propulsion Lab or Laboratories. It used to be Jack Parsons' laboratory, but after the government found out that he was an occultist and all that stuff,
the government knew the entire time. They just hated the PR. Okay,
yeah.
They just hated the PR.
But okay, the military's riddled with occultists, bro.
I mean, yeah.
So check this out, man. So this guy single-handedly is in charge of developing the rockets and creating the technology that won them World War II, besides making the atom bomb, right? But this guy did a ritual known as the Babylon workings or something like that. It was called to try to bring some type of entity into this world using their rituals or whatever, right? That ritual was on April 8th. It actually was 3 days long. It was April 7th, 8th, and 9th, bro.
Jesus.
And at that point, and I think I'm getting it wrong. I don't think it was Jack Parsons. I think it was Aleister Crowley that did that ritual during those 3 days. And that's where apparently he got that entity that communicated the book of the law to him, and he was able to create Thelema, which is that symbol right over here.
Yeah.
So anyway, so NASA connected to Parsons, connected to Aleister Crowley, and then on top of that, bro, it's gonna get wild, bro. I don't think you're ready for this,
dude. Like I'm over here. I'm already declaring the word over this podcast. There could be as many mythical snakes in the world, but guess what? The one who conquered him already won the battle. All right,
dude.
that's all I'm saying.
Amen. Hell yeah.
And so bring on this worldly news, sir.
Yes,
bring it on.
Yeah, man. So we have those connections, right? So we got the eclipse, we got the state of emergencies being called out in different states. We got the red heifers. We got the red heifers. We got NASA launching some rockets out 45 minutes apart during the total eclipse. Meanwhile, on the other side of the world, in Switzerland, they're turning on CERN, bro.
Oh no.
They're turning on CERN.
We're gonna step into a different timeline again.
CERN to test world's most powerful particle accelerator during April's solar eclipse to search for invisible matter that secretly powers our universe. I wonder what secret matter they're looking for. The article says,
I could tell you this right now before we finish this article. I don't even have to tell you. I know the stories of what happened back in, 2013, 2014, when they were in CERN, and some of the scientists said that they opened up a portal.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're trying to open up the portal again.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's what they're trying to do. Because if you remember back in 2013, 2014, and I might have my dates wrong, but I do know these accounts exist on the internet, is that a lot of the scientists that worked at CERN during that time, and they did that original dark matter discovery. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They said they opened up a portal and they saw entities on the other side. So why? Okay, if I was a guy at CERN, just a worker, I would have quit a long time ago. Okay. I'm just saying. I'm like, I don't want to be part of this. I don't want.
Nah, bro. But
you don't know what's on the other side.
To be honest, and I'm purely speculating, bro. Just, but para gente que está escuchando, anyone who's listening, I'm speculating, right? With the statement that I'm about to make. But if you've looked at any of the promotional videos for CERN on YouTube, you can look it up. We'll look one up while I'm talking here.
Yeah.
If you look at some of the stuff that they'll do on their promotional videos, it's very disturbing, bro. It's occultic, satanic, ritualistic, to the point where you're questioning, like, what the hell are you watching, right? And the thing is, if you look at CERN's logo, bro, CERN's logo has the 666 on there.
Yeah,
it's evident, bro. You can't miss it, dude. I mean, let me see if I can pull it up on my screen here. But dude, CERN definitely has its logo. We'll look it up over here, and I'll pull up the video here. But dude, it's concerning. And if you look at the entrance of CERN, it's Shiva.
Yeah, I've seen that
the
before.
Indian god Shiva, the deity Shiva.
Here, I got the CERN logo pulled up. Hold on, let me see. Do. Okay, yes. Share screen. Here it goes. Look at that. 666 all over the place.
It's all right.
Dude, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Look at
see, there it is.
The CERN logo. Look at this. This is like you can't miss that. Like, dude, there's some crazy accounts that I've seen and I've heard throughout the years of people that have worked at CERN, and I don't know how true it is, but I'll tell you this: they are playing with something in the name of science that I don't think they even understand the repercussions of what might happen. Right? Like they're taking the world of science fiction, and obviously by their logo and a lot of the people that run CERN, they believe in a lot of occult things. I think that they're using science to bring upon a lot of the stuff that they believe in. And the fact that they're doing it under such a it's a big powerful it's look, it's a full moon. It's the weekend of a full moon during a solar eclipse. This is a problem. This is a problem, and I don't care what anybody, this is a problem, right? Like we can't, like, I don't know. I'm from the school of thought where I have a curious mind and I want to learn things, but there's just certain things you don't mess with. And to me, these are things you don't mess with. These are things that, whether you believe in it or not, man, I'd rather just not find out. Why? Because that knowledge can potentially hurt you. Even if it doesn't hurt the masses, man, what if you're one of those scientists and a portal opens up? What do you see? What if your life changes? What if you're cursed? What if something like that happens? I don't know. I don't want to find out. There's certain reasons, like it's like the internet, like the Black Mirror, right? That is the phone, the Black Mirror. Like, you have to be careful what you consume. And if you're that scientist there in that moment, what you see, is it in the name of science, or is it to fulfill some billionaire's quest for total domination?
And that's the thing too, right? Because billionaires have access to certain knowledge that you and I don't have. Right?
I don't think it's knowledge. I think they're seeking the knowledge and they have the resources to get it.
Well, that's also too. And if they have the resources to get it, don't you think that they already have it?
They have something. I don't think they.
I don't think they have all of it.
I don't think they have a complete picture if they're doing these types of experiments. Wow, look at that, Shiva. Fuck.
Yeah, that's the interest of CERN right there, bro. That's the interest of CERN. And it goes on. It's all occultic, bro. It's all about these deities paying homage to either Egyptian deities or ancient Indian ones, right? They don't recognize, the Judeo-Christian or Abrahamic, deity or God, Yahweh, Yahuwah.
They don't.
And they do these. I don't know if they're doing these rituals to open up those portals, like you said, or if they're trying to do it again. Are these portals interdimensional? Are these portals time? Are they manipulating time? Are they creating more timelines? What are they doing?
I don't know, but there was a movie about 20 years ago, if you remember. No, more than that now, 30 years ago, because it's older than me. Remember a movie called Stargate? Don't you think this is very similar to that? Maybe CERN is the Stargate that they're trying to open, and they have to do it under certain ritual, certain time to get to the right place, so it opens up for just the right amount of time and send something. I don't know, but it sounds like predictive programming to me, at least when I think about it in that term. I really don't know. I don't know if it's because we've been doing a lot of research for this podcast, but the TikToks, the socials have been feeding me a lot of that. Look, it looks like what Shiva's inside looks like a Stargate, like in the movie, right? And then CERN is basically a Stargate, but flat on the ground, and you're wondering, what are they doing? Now, I don't know, right? I could sit here and then we're just gonna find out a new matter, a new particle that they're discovering, and it's all pure science, and we're hunky dory, and it's just gonna be weaponized in some way.
So check this out, man. So this is the type of stuff that they do at CERN. So they did a mock human sacrifice video. This was back in 2016. Okay, and this video was filmed. And the description here, and this is at The Guardian, so shout out to The Guardian. A fake ritual killing filmed in a courtyard at CERN, the Geneva Particle Physics Research Complex, has prompted an investigation. A spokeswoman suggested users of the facility had let their humor go too far and warned the potential for misunderstandings about scientific nature of our research. Let's check this out. I'm going to keep it on mute so we see it here.
Fair use, man. We're commentating on it. Just pause halfway through.
We're commentating on it,
dude. This is creepy. Oh my god,
bro. This is. I mean, we see a group of cloaked people. This is for our podcast audience. If you didn't get to watch the video, but there's a group of, I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people with cloaks right now, and they're in front of the Shiva statue at CERN, at the entrance of CERN, performing this mock human sacrifice.
What? Yeah. Oh my God. Now pause it real quick. Pause it. Okay. Now, yeah, dude. What if it's all a joke? What if it's truly a joke? Let's go down that rabbit hole. What if it's a joke? What if the PR
What if it's
people,
just one big troll? Is it they're just trolling us like that?
What if it's just one big troll? What if like the people who run CERN just have a really dark sense of humor? It's like, hey, you know what'll be really funny? If we do a mock sacrifice, we hire one of our own guys to videotape it and say, "Oh my God," in the background. Greatest work of all time. Better than The Rock's performance at WrestleMania.
Right? It's all a work anyway.
It's all a work.
Right? Everything's
It's all a work. It's all a work. I'm just saying, if this is what they're doing for views and content creation, man, they're doing better work than The Rock is in the WWE. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know, man. Stuff with the final boss has been pretty fire lately, bro.
No, yeah. Oh man.
Dude. But this ain't the podcast to be talking about wrestling, bro. This is a serious podcast. We're talking about some serious.
Today we're talking serious. We're gonna keep it. We're
talking serious shit today, bro.
We have our serious hats on. I have my professional shirt on. We're good.
I got my cardigan on. That's how you know it's serious.
You got your Congo hat on. We mean business today.
Oh, but this shit is wild, dude. And then I also wanted to kind of talk about some of these a lot of the scriptures that these videos and internet articles are pulling out of their ass and trying to make this connection with April 8th, right? And I wanted to kind of discuss that with you because you know the Bible way better than I do. I'm not a Bible expert. But you know better than I. You know more than I do, and I'll recognize that. You know, that's just one of the things that's not my forte, but I consider myself a pretty smart person. So these are all the verses and the scripture that they've been quoting, right? So Isaiah 13:10, the stars in heavens and their constellations will not show their light. The rising sun will be darkened and the moon will not give its light. All right. Then another one, Ezekiel 32:7. When I extinguish you, I will cover the heavens and darken their stars. I will cover the sun with a cloud and the moon will not give its light. Isaiah 38:18. I will make the shadow cast by the sun go back the 10 steps. It has gone down the stairway of Ahaz. All right. So these are constant references to the sun. Book of Joel, a Jewish prophet text, Joel 2:10, 2:31 says, the earth shakes, the sky trembles, the sun and the moon are darkened, and the stars no longer shine. The sun will be turned to darkness and the moon to blood before the great and dreadful day of Yahweh. Also, Joel 3:15, the sun and moon will be darkened and the stars no longer shine.
Well, here's something, and this is in the book of Matthew, and in response to all of this, not to diminish that those verses aren't inaccurate or the prophecies and the studies of this, but these are the words from Yeshua himself, Jesus himself, right? And this is in the book of Matthew 24. And I'm kind of gonna skip a little bit ahead because this, in context, this is he's talking about signs of the end times. Okay. And it's Matthew 24. Read the entire chapter. It's really good. And if you want a really good breakdown of this chapter, we referenced to this guy's channel earlier. Check out Ruslan KD. He did a video on this chapter alone, and it's really, really good. But I want to. This is the NIV version, which is just a really simple English translation. It's not old English, okay? Jesus left the temple and was walking away with the disciples up when a man walked up to him to call his attention in the building. Do you see all these things? He asked. I truly tell you, not one stone here will be left another. Everyone will be thrown down. Okay, so he's predicting the fall of government here. Okay. As Jesus is sitting down at the Temple Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately. Tell us, they said, when will this happen? And when will the signs of you coming at the end of age? Jesus answered, watch out that no one deceives you. For many will come in my name, claiming I am the Messiah, and they will deceive many. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars. But to see is that you are not alarmed. Such things must happen, but at the end is still to come. Nations will rise against nations and kingdoms against kingdoms. There will be famines, earthquakes in various places, and all these will be the beginning of birth pains. So this is one of the key scriptures where a lot of end time prophecy is kind of Jesus telling us what to watch out for, right? Let me see. He talks more about that. Verse 10, Matthew 24. At the time, many will turn away from faith and will betray and hate each other. And many false prophets will appear and deceive many people. Because of the increase in wickedness, the love of most will grow cold. The love of most will grow cold. 13. But the one who stands firm to the end will be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached all over the world, and his testimony to all the nations.
Praise God.
Now you have to understand context of what he's talking about. He's not only talking about his time of the Romans, because historically there were many people proclaiming to be the Messiah before Jesus actually came and died for our sins, right? Fulfilling the prophecies of Isaiah that the first coming is the one of the Lamb. The second coming is the one of the King. All right. So he's telling us not only the people of his time, but also telling it, foreshadowing, great word, by the way, foreshadowing times like these, times of great distress amongst the people. I think you can say this, at least in America, right? I don't know anybody who truly loves anybody anymore.
That's powerful, bro.
I don't know anybody who truly loves anybody anymore. You and I have both been in relationships with people we loved, and come to find out they didn't love us. Right? How many friends can you truly call friends? Right? And then now you look at the news, there's proxy wars left and right. Look at that. This word is too powerful right now because they're trying to silence me, dog. All right. There's proxy wars all over the place. There's talks of famine and warnings of famine. The Francis Key Bridge fell down, which is now going to cause some sort of economic situation, which is going to cause famine in some places in this country. Right? Like you have to read these things and try to understand that Jesus, Yeshua, these are his words, right? Obviously in translation, in a little bit more basic English for at least for me to understand. And the context of it is what I understand. I can't tell you that's exactly what he said. I wasn't there, but I could tell you this much. He's warning. It was like, hey, people are going to say they're me when they're not me. People are going to do this and they're going to say this in my name, and they're not doing it in my name. Now look at everything that's happening in the world. Look at everything that's happening in the world. Look at everything that we consume in the media, everything that we see from the truther community. And even then, you have to have a watchful eye of what you consume, because it is not what he's bringing. But I want to fast forward to a little further down in the chapter, and let me find it, right? Okay, verse 20. Pray that your flight will not take place in the winter or on the Sabbath, for there will be great distress and unequaled from the beginning of the world until now. If those days had not been cut short, none of them will survive, but the sake of the elect will be shortened. Here it goes. It gets better. At the time, if anyone says to you, look, here is the Messiah, or here he is, do not believe it. He's telling you not to believe it. Okay. For false messiahs and false prophets will appear and perform great things. Man, how this is the thing, right? He's telling you they will perform, they will do magic, they will do these things, right? And here it gets better, man. Do great signs, if the possible, even the elect, even the presidents, even the people in power are going to be the ones that we're going to trust. Does that sound like anybody right now? Does that sound like anybody right now?
That's exactly what's going on right here, bro. You know,
right?
and that's one of the things, right? That they're putting so much trust in someone. You should be putting your trust in Yah,
the one,
in the one.
And the one, right?
That's why when I wake up, I'll be like, I acknowledge you, my tribal chief.
Hey, man.
You're my tribal chief.
So if anyone tells, verse 26, if anyone tells you out of the wilderness, do not go out, blah, blah, blah. That's not the verse I'm looking for. I'll give the stars.
We got verse 29 here.
Okay, here goes. Verse 29, verse 20. Then will appear the signs of the man in the heaven, and then the people on the earth in the mouth. Here, and we'll send angels louder. Now, the lessons of the tree. No, there's a more powerful here. Okay, here we go. Here goes. Verse 36 is the verse that I was looking for. But about that day or hour, no one knows, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father. As it was the days of Noah, so it will become the days of the Son of Man. For the days before the flood, people were eating and drinking and marrying and giving marriage up to the day of Noah's Ark returned. And they knew nothing about what would happen until the flood came and took them away. So this is how it will be the coming day of the Son of Man, which is referring to Jesus, Yeshua, right? 2 men will be in the field, no one will be taken, and the other left. So it's talking about the rapture. Therefore, keep watch. Going down to verse 42. Therefore, keep watch, because you do not know the day or the time the Lord will come, and understand, if the owner of the house had known what time of the night the thief was coming, he would have kept watch and would have not left his house to be broken into. So you must be ready, because the Son of Man will come at an hour you will not expect him. Okay. So all these end time prophecies at the end of the day don't matter, because we can break it down, we can do all these things, and this is the words of Jesus himself. It's like, I mean, I don't even know when I'm coming back. I haven't been given the order. This is what he's saying. He's telling the disciples, I don't know when I'm coming back, because my dad hasn't told me when. Okay.
And that's something that I think a lot of people, especially like on TikTok and that are putting out all these videos and putting out all this content about the solar eclipse and about the prophecy and about the return of Yeshua. Don't listen to that, bro, because nobody knows. No, that's the truth. You want the truth with the capital T? Nobody knows except the Father. And if you don't believe in faith, and if you don't believe in God, then we love you. We still love you. We still love you. But there's something going on. There's something going on.
Here's the best part, right? And this is the part that gives me hope, right? He's like, but suppose that the servant is wicked and says to himself, my master stay away for a long time, and that begins to beat the fellow servants. At the end of the drink of the drunkard, the master of the servant will come one day when he does not expect him, and the hour is not aware. He will cut him to pieces and assign him a place in the hypocrites, right? But in 25, there's a verse where, and there's a lot to go into, because this is like Jesus dropping dimes throughout 24, 25, and 26 in Matthew. And there's a verse where he goes, it doesn't matter what's happening, because it's what you do for the least of those that matter, right? What you do for the least of those. You know what that means? Is how you treat your brother, how you treat that homeless guy on the street, how you treat your boss who's stressed beyond belief and he's treating you like crap, but you bless him anyway. You know what I'm saying?
And that's
Those
the
are the
hardest
things
thing to do, bro, because it's
that
like that's the commandment, right? Love God above anything else and love your neighbor, and you're supposed to love your neighbor like you love God.
so it's like he's telling us all the bad things that are going to happen, that are happening, right? Like you look at it through the lens. He's telling us everything that's happening right now. But he's saying, but why are you worried? As long as you treat everybody with love and the way I taught you to treat people. Don't disrespect, love on them. Doesn't mean you let them hurt you, right? Because Jesus didn't let nobody hurt him. He was quick to walk away from many people in the Bible, right? He was quick to walk away from from the tax collector that wouldn't give up his possessions to follow Jesus. He was like, hey, give up your belongings and follow me. And the guy said, but I can't. He was like, well, God bless you. And he moved on, right? Doesn't mean he hated him. He still loved him, but he walked away from somebody who walked away from him.
Mm-hmm.
But he's telling us to love the least of those. And that's the only thing that matters. We don't know the day, the time. We don't know if it's going to be April 8th of 2024. We don't know if it's going to be December 26th of 2035. We don't know. We see the signs. We see the wonders. We see the people proclaiming things and doing acts and people in the elect and blah, blah, blah. And he's telling us it don't matter.
Chill out. It's going to be okay.
It's all good.
We win in the end.
It's all good. No. Here's the thing. What most people don't understand about Christianity is that we are in the post. We're like, so it's like this. Best example I've ever heard of this. Christianity, and if you believe in the finished work of Jesus Christ, of Yeshua, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, the best way to think about this is like when the U.S. won World War II, V-Day, right? How many more months of fighting were there post that day? Because they were still fighting. There wasn't an official ceasefire till several months later. We're in that post-victory period, right? Before the official ceasefire. And there are people who don't know the news that the war is over. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Like the war is won. The enemy has been defeated. Jesus went down to hell, laid the smack it down on the devil, and gave us freedom. And now we're over here saying, hey, now we just have to live in that reality. The problem is that we are living like in the days of Noah, where we don't know that the war is over. Mm-hmm. That's the problem. And that's why people like us, people like in the truth community, we see these things and we're trying to tell people, it's like, yo, y'all, pay attention. All this is happening, but the war is over.
Yeah, man. And you know what? And it's interesting too, bro, because I don't really subscribe to the idea of religion, right? I subscribe more of the teachings, following and understanding the word, right?
Understood. Yeah, I agree.
And you and I have had these conversations, right? But something that was pretty cool for me, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it, that I thought it blew my mind a little bit, because it'll probably make a lot of Star Wars fans happy. And when I was trying to find like what did they call followers of Christ before it was called Christianity, right? Because when they were hanging out with Christ, they weren't called, hey, look at all those Christians there, right? Well, what were they called, bro? So when I started doing research, it's called the Way.
The Way.
The Way. Yeshua is the way. He is the truth. They never called it Christianity. They called it the Way. And I'm like, bro, that is so badass, bro. He's like, what do you practice?
The Way.
The Way.
But it's funny. It's funny because when you look at the ancient church, right? And this is the only word to describe what they were, right? The early followers of Jesus, the people who sacrificed literally themselves for what they saw and they believed in, right? I don't know anyone who would die for a lie. Would you? Would you? I mean, I get it. Snitches get stitches, but like, dog, I'm not lying for anyone.
No.
I don't care how many bodies I like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't dying for nobody. Like, no, I'm not getting prosecuted because of something you did. Like, no. How many people in the New Testament? This is the thing where it's like you don't have to believe, but you do, this is whether you believe everything in the Bible or not. If you just look at the New Testament and you look at everything that happened post Jesus resurrection and coming back, which is very fitting because Easter was this past Sunday. How many people
Not the real
died?
Easter, by the way.
No, the Resurrection Sunday. I'm talking about Resurrection Sunday. Well, what the rest of the world calls
even
Easter.
that date, but even that date
Well,
is wrong.
but that's the date we chose to celebrate it. Just keep it at that.
It's supposed to be the Sunday before Passover, bro. Because that's
Well,
when
Passover. Well, wasn't Passover this past weekend too?
No, Passover's in April. It's in 2 more weeks.
Anyway.
Well, yeah. Back to the conversation.
Okay. How many people historically died for him and have accounts of talking to Jesus post-resurrection? Like if you're in a court of law in anywhere in the world, there's more than enough evidence to be like, yo, this dude did something. This dude did something. And you know how it's just crazy. Like you don't have to be a hardcore believer to be like, well, you know, the evidence is there. Is it scientific? No, because it's over 2,000 years old. But like the empirical evidence is there. And it's not just in the Bible, it's in historical documents, which is insane. And to me, like all of that is the reason is like you have, like, if anything, take those words and be like, why worry about everything that happens in the macro? Just worry about your micro. Worry about your micro. Worry about you.
And that's something that I've really taken to heart, bro. Because let's say something does happen, right? Let's say something does happen wherever you are in the world. How's that going to affect you right there where you're at that point in time?
You know what I'll be doing? Helping a patient. That's what I'll be doing. Right? You know what I'm saying? I'll be helping some old lady refill her blood pressure medication. Or
are you putting your energy towards all these news, all these distractions, all these, you know, headlines about the eclipse and the emergencies and CERN and things like that? Yes, it's entertaining. Yes, it's cool to make these connections, but at the end of the day, being real. And I'm talking to the podcast, to the listeners on the podcast. If you're listening to us in the car, ask yourself this question: how is this solar eclipse, or how are any of these events affecting you right now?
To me, they don't. Right? I mean, they shouldn't. They shouldn't.
Right? But they do.
Shouldn't, but they do.
But they do.
Like it's creepy to know that APEP is a weird ritual for some pagan god, which, you know, lowercase Egyptian, whatever, same thing, polytheism or whatever, right? And I'm not knocking anybody's, you know, faith system, dude. Believe what you believe, and you know, I'm gonna love you anyway. But people with money and power have always done this. They've from the beginning of time. So what makes you think that it's going to stop? Now they just have more sophisticated technology. Mm-hmm. They have more resources than ever before to do these things. And the doors that they're opening up, man, if you are covered, you got nothing to worry about. Treat the least among you the way you would treat him, and you'll be all right. Like,
and it goes back to like what you're saying is, what are you getting out of paying so much attention and putting so much energy to all these news stories? Like we do it. So here's the thing. When I bring you these news stories and we do this podcast, I'm not researching 5 days a week to bring you all of this. All right. Because my mental
3 hours before the podcast,
my mental health is extremely important to me. Okay. Because on top of that, I produce another podcast and I have 2 businesses that I'm building. Right. So I can't allocate my entire week and day to researching all these and make all these connections, right?
I'd rather watch Dragon
However,
Ball Z videos.
right? However, you know, on Wednesdays, I do dedicate most of the day to doing research on this. And, I have a lot of great resources with, collaborations that we've done with people in the community. They put out excellent content and I have direct access to these people. So I always, have a better understanding of what's going on, and I don't have to cram in all that information. So for me, I'm bringing you the stuff that I'm already learning so you guys can take whatever piece of information out of it and use your discernment. Right? Use your discernment. If you're believing God, ask God to give you discernment on all these topics. If you're finding a TikTok video that's telling you that April 8th is the return of Christ because of the solar eclipse and because of some fucking constellation that's being brought up, right? Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype, because that lady and then none of those people that are putting out that content, they don't, if they are true followers of Yeshua and Yah, they don't know when the day is gonna come.
Here's the thing, and here's I'm not saying that when the day comes, it's gonna come like a thief in the night. That part I take true to be 100% accurate. But like when you start thinking back, you don't have to think back too far. Think back 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 2012, the end of the world.
We're going to be all right.
December 13th came around and we were fine. Y2K, 30 years ago now. Well, almost 30 years ago now.
23, bro. We still got
23. Yeah, I know. 23 years ago.
24 years ago.
24 years ago, right? Y2K. January 1st came around. We're okay. I'm not saying you should not be informed. I think to be I think Jesus himself was very informed, very politically inept for what, for the way he talked. But I think he brings a lot of wisdom in his words. It's like, hey, yes, be informed. Yes, take this information in, but protect this. Protect your heart. Protect your mind.
Protect your mana. Protect your prana. Yes.
Like he's telling his followers, just like, hey, be informed. Don't be stupid. Watch out. Be wary.
Take heed. Don't let your heart be troubled.
You know what I'm saying? Like take these information. It's like, okay, well, that's happening. Well, that's happening. That's creepy. Okay, but at the end of the day, like, love on other people. And I love covering these subjects because it's like I also do my research and I learn, but at the end of the day, man, it's like once this podcast is over, I'm not sitting here being like, yo, I learned this thing that the elites are holding these weird rituals and what are they bringing upon and all these earth lines. And I'm like, no, why? Because it doesn't affect me in that way. It doesn't. You know what it does? It's partially entertainment, which is what we're here to do. But also, it's information for us to sit there and be like, okay, now let's look at it and discern it through these eyes of what your heart says, what your faith says. And I encourage this from anybody. You don't have to be a Christian. It's like, dude, just discern it with your own eyes. Mm-hmm. Don't believe everything you see. Like, I love wrestling, but I know that it's scripted.
And that's a perfect example, right? Is using, if you understand wrestling, and not just from the fan's point of view, you have to understand it from the business side point of view and how these matches are booked and how these stories are told, right? If you can understand how that works, then you'll be able to understand the global events of the world. I mean, that's just how I've been able to decipher all of this, man.
I mean, and here's the thing, and like, and I'm when it comes to like current events, like Saul Alinsky wrote one of the scariest books in modern politics. And his book and Rules for Radical says, don't let a good crisis go to waste. Do you think if you're in charge of anything in the U.S. government, you don't let a solar eclipse go to waste? How can we scare the populace so we can take more money from them in second week of January or November? I'm sorry. What? Come on now. I would. I'm just saying. I would.
These people, man. These effing people. Bueno, mi
Say
gente.
my word.
All right, guys, we're gonna wrap up for the night. We appreciate you hanging out with us.
We didn't even
tonight.
cover our guests.
Oh, dude, well, we don't have time for that, bro, because it's so
Not
much
today.
going on.
Not
But you
today,
know-
but we will in the next 5 episodes. You'll see us covering a whole bunch of guests that we have already interviewed and all this other stuff. But month of April, guys, we have a slam-packed month full of guests. 8 May, it's coming your way soon. It'll be here before you know it.
Oh yeah.
Jose, do the housekeeping.
Ya tú sabes, mi gente. Make sure you follow us and síguenos on YouTube, on Rumble, at Cultura Truth Project, on Facebook and on Instagram at Gonzalez Media TV. Subscribe to the podcast on all major platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and leave us a 5-star review. And support the show by joining the Supporters Club on Spreaker for $3 a month. Link in the description. We love you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us here at Cultura Truth Project. Make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode.
See you next time.
Bye.